This afternoon, I decided that I would do a little creating in the kitchen. And one of the ways that I love to create anytime, anywhere is in my mixed media collage sketchbook. This is a collage sketchbook that I created as part of a Skillshare class, and it was a technique that I learned from artist Heinrich Dreicher through a Carla Sondheim class on Carla Sondheim Presents. So the premise of it is that you randomly collage onto large sheets of paper, you cut it down, and then you use sketchbook binding techniques to create a sketchbook. And each spread is a portion of those cut up collage pages. So you really truly don't know what each page is going to have in store for you, but each page is a really exciting, interesting jumping off point. So when I work back into my mixed media collage sketchbook, I like to use brush pens, Sharpies, colored pencils. I have fountain pens that I really enjoy. I've got some paint pens, both Poscas and other brands that I like, fine liners, some calligraphy pens. I have I have a little bag of travel supplies that I always have on hand with me, whether I'm on the go or I'm out of the art studio, so that if I want to create, I can easily sit down and do that. And this book is always a big part of that, because sometimes you're facing a blank page and you get a little bit overwhelmed. You're not sure where to begin. You want to create, you don't know what. This takes all of that guesswork out of it for you, because each spread has a portion of a collage on it. And that is the jumping off point for what you do. So for me, I like to use color inspiration from those collage pages. Sometimes it's mark making, because I've used magazine papers, I've used old artworks that I've torn up, technique practice pages, whatever materials I had on hand for collaging were used in the creation of these mixed media collage sketchbooks. So where I go really truly depends on the page that I choose to work back into. So this page, for example, it didn't have a lot of collage on it, and I also used a variety of papers. So there's some of the papers have a little bit of tint to them. And I decided to do some color blocking and to kind of start with that lime green and kind of build out these organic shapes with the brush pens. And then I went back over that with some Posca paint pen with my large Posca, and I really enjoy doing circles kind of over these things. So circles are coming up into play a lot. So I did large white circles with Posca, and then I got out my fountain pen and started adding some wonky fountain pen lines to those. And now I'm going in with a black Posca and I'm adding some horizontal stripes across the page and just kind of adding a lot of layering. Layering is a big part of mixed media for me. And for many artists, I really enjoy breaking up the page with marks and techniques and textures and pattern. Whatever kind of it calls for is what I do. So combining circles and lines right now has been a very consistent mark making thing that I'm really enjoying. So I just go with whatever feels right in the moment for that page and for what I want to do. And it's a really great way to kind of weave together the art supplies that you're adding to the page as well as the collage materials that are there. So that's where this page is at so far. And then I kind of decide that I want to go back in with some orange Sharpie and add some marks to kind of break up the circles and kind of repeat that idea of those horizontal lines by doing some radial lines around some portions of the white circles. This is truly just intuitive play at its best, which is really fun. And then I decided to go in and kind of break up the circles by doing some really wonky spirally shapes, lines, to kind of just add some dimension and some marks to those, and do a little bit of obscuring about the colors and the marks and the line work that is underneath those from the brush pen. So a lot of times there's a lot of repetition to my mixed media practice. Something I do in one section I'll repeat throughout the page or in different portions. It gives it a really nice unity and kind of helps bridge all this craziness together so that in the end the page looks really unified and interesting. And I would say that like 9 times out of 10, I'm exceedingly happy with how a page turns out. But there are definitely almost always some awkward phases that I kind of have to get through. So now I'm going through with colored pencil and I'm just kind of beefing up the sections of the brush pen areas where I didn't go over it with lines, but then I'm also taking some darker colors and adding some in-between lines in colored pencil. And that just kind of adds a really nice additional texture to it. A little bit of optical movement is happening now, and it allows me to play with even more color, which I love. And then I also am going back in with some white. I don't have any other lighter colors that would go over the orange like I did the red over the pink in my art bag, but I do have white, and white over orange can be very beautiful. And then I'm adding in some pops of lavender over some of those purple sections. And then I wanted to add a little bit of texture over the magazine sections where I hadn't really gone over it with much of anything else. So I took my brown colored pencil and my orange colored pencil and added some gridwork lines there. Now addressing the green section and just kind of beefing up the colors and really making those pop and sing, and adding a little subtle variation between the boldness of color where I did go over it with the black lines and where I didn't. So adding a little variety there. I decided to go over where the open paper was with some brown to kind of help tie in the magazine image. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. So if you like it, give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe to get notified when I post new videos. And I'll see you next time.